What's some juicy gossip you just found out in your personal lives? Story 1. My uncle told my parents that he needed money because he borrowed from the Chinese mafia and they were threatening to kill him and his family or something. My parents sent him some money and then 2 weeks later he posted a pic with a new car. My uncle said the money he borrowed was to pay off his house. He did not actually borrow from the Chinese mafia. He didn't even get a new house. More clarification, we are Chinese Malaysian. Most of our family lives in Malaysia while we live in the US. People used to ask us for money because my parents started a good business here. Story 2. We got a new boss like a year ago at work, and we've been hating it. People are getting written up for petty shit and suspended and losing their bonuses. I'm a good employee, but this stuff finally caught up to me too and I got written up for getting injured at work, long story. I don't play, so where it said employee comments, on the write-up I said see attached, and typed out a 3-page defense talking about how I thought it was unfair and how I thought people had been getting treated unfairly for a year now. The next day I got called into a meeting by my boss, and his boss, and his boss and an HR rep so they could grill me about it. By the end of the meeting we had all figured out that it was actually the HR rep who had been screwing with people for a year now, and the anger shifted completely away from me and onto her. I went around and told everybody about it. We're going to make this be pay. Story 3. One of the girls in our group of friends has never really gotten over her ex that left her 3 years ago. She will often bring him up when drunk and it has really hampered her dating life. He lives thousands of miles away, and today he posted a picture of him sitting with an attractive dude getting coffee. They are holding hands and their legs are touching. We were all sitting around the TV hanging out when she saw the picture. Shell shock is the best description for her face. Story 4. My soon-to-be ex-wife and I separated in August 2018. She decided to end the marriage because she concluded that I would never trust her after she had an affair for more than half of our 15-year marriage. We tried to reconcile for 2 years, during which time she repeatedly told me that she had changed and that she'd never lied to me again. But I kept catching her in lie after lie. Now, she is seriously dating a guy, since at least December. And she's cheating on him with another guy. Remember folks, she has changed. Story 5. An ex-friend of mine from high school is now in the middle of the second divorce. Apparently it's because she cheated on her second husband with her now current boyfriend. This is the second time she's cheated on her husband and I'm curious if she'll marry the current boyfriend and then cheat on him. Story 6. A couple that we have been friends with for a few years now, both very normal people with vanilla jobs, took a trip overseas that was supposed to last a week. Not unusual for any of our group of friends. No one had heard from them for close to a month until we found out they'd been arrested on the other side of the earth trying to smuggle out close to $1 million for an international drug cartel out of the country they were visiting. When we heard the news we were just sitting there quietly in disbelief for about 5 minutes. Story 7. A year ago my family member, 26, discovered that his fiancée, 29, of 7 years, who he has 2 children with had been having an affair with his younger brother, who just turned 18. His brother was living in his house rent-free at the time as well. So his fiancée left him for his brother, and had a fling with him for a couple months. The younger brother is basically homeless now, jumping from friend to crash at their houses, while working at a job that he makes minimum wage at, $7.25, while she is still living under her ex-fiancé's roof. She then decided she wanted to work things out with her ex-fiancé, so they got back together and decided to reconcile the relationship, which left the younger brother furious. Shortly after that, she finds out she is pregnant but does not know which brother is the father. Her fiancé said he would raise the baby as his own even if it was not his. So she decides to keep the baby. This makes the younger brother more furious because she aborted the child before this baby that she knew was the younger brother's. So the younger brother verbally attacks her for aborting that child and keeping this one because there is a chance it is her fiancé's. She is unemployed during this time, so her fiancé is paying for all of the expenses. 9 months later, still unemployed. She has the baby and it ends up being the younger brother's child, and they all try to do co-parenting. The baby is 3 months old now, and my family member's fiancé left him for his younger brother again. Story 8. Just found out that my brother, who divorced his ex-wife a year ago, got married to a new woman in secret. I mean secret as in that he hasn't told his own kids about it, 10 and 12 years old. He hasn't told us either, rest of the family. My mother just accidentally said it to all of us. So now we know but are to pretend we don't know. None of us have met his new wife that we don't know is his wife but still know is his wife. Story 9. Apparently for years my parents have told my teachers I have a learning disability. I didn't know I had learning disability. I don't think I have a learning disability. I asked them why and they said it takes about $1,500 off the cost of my university tuition from some government grant, so I guess I have a learning disability. Update. I asked my parents more questions about this and I apparently got tested when I was young and have a legitimate learning disability diagnosis. My parents aren't committing fraud, they knew all along that I was diagnosed, and I just recently found out about it. Story 10. Not the juiciest, but I have boring life so. A friend of mine doesn't have the best taste in men. She's been talking to this guy that I swear is a pathological liar. She refuses to believe it. She just makes a lot of excuses for him while in the process of continually being disappointed and let down by him. Over the last month, he was supposed to come visit her at least 10 different times. He lives 3 hours away, so it's a long-distance relationship. Every time he was supposed to visit, something came up. He was sick twice, then his daughter was sick, then he got ran over, then his mom's dog is dying. All of these are excuses on why he can't come visit. What's F up is it will be his idea to visit. He will constantly tell my friend he's coming, she will tell him not to worry about it, but he will insist. All for him to give some bullshit, last-minute excuse on why he can't show up. It seems, to me, like a lot of work to lie like that, but whatever. This recent excuse was the most fucked up. This actually happened last night. The guy insisted on coming to see my friend over the weekend. She got her hopes up just for him to call her last minute and say he got into a car wreck. He told her he was at the hospital because he got hurt and his car was totaled, or some shit. My friend believed him at first and kept trying to ask him what hospital he was at, but he wouldn't tell her. He even sent her a picture of the car. So my friend messaged another friend of hers telling her what happened. Long story short, the other friend asked my friend to send her the picture, and she did some investigating and found an exact picture, an article of a wreck that happened in a different state. So the guy lied about being in a wreck. When my friend confronted him about it, he started laughing his ass off and told her it was this elaborate practical joke he was playing on her. Well, she believes him. It's all a big F joke, and I don't know who to be more pissed off at, the guy for being such a shady character or my friend who is so damn naive. Story 11. I live by a married man. Him and his family are very close to this lady we'll call Jess. They go on vacations with Jess, but in all photos she is near the husband, not the wife. There have been rumors that the husband is cheating on his wife with Jess. Just rumors though, right? Recently Jess moved across the country. We thought that was the end of it. Nope. My dad helps people so they can get mortgages, and he just got a call from someone. The husband. They're moving with Jess across the country. Teacup without handle. Story 12. One November day, my mom took my sister and I put so we could help her pick out gifts for our kids. I asked why a cousin of ours who adored children never had any of her own. This led my mom into a deep trail of juicy family stories. The most unexpected was about my grandma. Apparently, a married man had pursued her, and they started a short affair that left her pregnant. She was the teenage daughter of devout Catholic, immigrant parents, and they essentially hid her in the basement the entire 9 months and forced her to give away the baby. They also threatened the dad with the mob to get him to stay quiet and pay for medical care. My grandma lived most of her life depressed over what came of that child. My mom took an ancestry DNA test about a year ago and found the woman. She had been adopted by loving parents who have since died. She started coming to our family events, and my My grandma lived most of her life depressed over what came of that child. My mom took an ancestry DNA test about a year ago and found the woman. She had been adopted by loving parents who have since died. She started coming to our family events, and my grandparents are more than pleased to have her in their lives. My grandpa has called her his daughter on multiple occasions. Also, both of my sisters have cheated on their husbands with guys they met at the gym. My husband is only very stressed by this trend. Story 13. Friend, who I'll call Joe, is 12 years older than his girlfriend, who I'll call Jessica. They met when she was 18, and he was dating someone else. We'll call her Mary. He cheated on Mary with Jessica. Mary went psycho, they broke up, and he and the Jessica got into a relationship. The next few years, she'd sneak out of college to meet him. Her family didn't like him because he was so much older and thought he was only in it for her money. Somehow they made it for 9 years. A year ago, he said in some social media post that he was single. 2 months later, he announced his engagement with the young woman. Talking to friends with more familiarity of the situation, it turned out Jessica had to put up with a lot. Mary continued to be psycho and harassed her lot. This was because she was 34 and was planning on having kids with Joe before he cheated on her, and so she considers Jessica her life ruiner. Story 14. My mom, who worked 30+ years in IT, after getting laid off from her last job decided she was done and retired. Well, last week she got a job at a clothing company as a cashier, getting a lot less money than she did in IT. This really isn't juicy gossip lol, except that friends and family have been calling me and fishing for details as to why she is re-entering the workforce. Most seem to think she's in some sort of dire financial straits, and I can only imagine the chatter they have among themselves regarding it. Well, gossipy friends and family, no need to worry. My mother is in a great financial situation. She's just gotten bored during her retirement and wants a part-time job to keep her occupied, get her out of the house, and provide for some interaction with other people. Story 15. A coworker of mine is marrying a girl he met in Europe 6 months ago so she can get a green card. He wrote a character reference letter for himself as my boss for my boss to sign. This dude doesn't have a fixed address, he just wanders all over the place until he needs money. It actually sounds like a fun existence if it wasn't so intensely privileged. And on the home front, my boyfriend keeps getting messaged by straight guys from his old fraternity who seem to want to try gay stuff with him. I'm guessing my boyfriend is the only openly gay guy they know, so they try to use him as some sort of on-ramp to gay stuff. Last night this guy messages him, and it quickly went from, "Hey bro, long time no see," to, "I want to worship your black sea," in just a few beats. Some of these dudes have wives and children. Story 16. This girl I once did hard drugs with on a rooftop 2 years ago kept posting a lot on social media about her life falling apart. She said her boyfriend dumped her because she finally got revenge on her rapist. I had no idea what that meant. She posted about drugs for a week, then they got back together, and she seemed okay. Then she posted a positive pregnancy test, and her boyfriend were posting a lot about being excited to raise their child together. Then it was silence for a couple weeks. Then it was back to her drinking and drugging, and everything about the baby was deleted. She is still together with her boyfriend. But as someone who doesn't talk to her anymore and only sees what's posted online, I don't know what to think. Maybe she lost the baby? Or maybe realized it was a result of her rape? No idea. Story 17. My ex and I divorced because he came out to me 18 years into our marriage as bi. He thought if he could just try it once he'd get it out of his system. His exact words. I gave him a hall pass, knowing deep down this was who he was and he wasn't going to get it out of his system. He ended up cheating on me with randos from Craigslist, etc. When we split, we told everyone we grew apart. My adult kids don't know, and I promised never to tell. Our friends don't know. Just me. He's now happily in a relationship with another woman but still hangs out quite a bit with a guy I know he's been involved with. He says for him it's just physical and he doesn't ever want a relationship with a man. It's been a tough secret to keep.